banned away by RNG, saying they're happy to go against Aki's Viego.
Yeah, so I think it'll be the Viego here for Aki. I imagine Wei will go back towards the Xin Zhao as a counter pick. And then I'll have to see exactly what the plan is going to be here. Kalista is up and available for Gala Ming. Senna also available. The interesting thing, though, I was actually looking at this. Gala has only played Senna 4 times in his career. And twice in the Demacia Cup. And twice in LPL. And he's only got a 25% win rate. He's only won one of those games. His most recent game was back in LPL playoffs in 2021 summer, where he actually lost on that game. So this is a very different take for RNG. This isn't a combo that we tend to see out of them.
No, certainly not. I mean, when you think of Gala, you think of Kai'Sa, right? Kai'Sa and Senna are pretty much polar opposites when it comes to playstyle. Creme, though, sticking to the playstyle that we saw in game number 1 with the Corki locked in once again. We'll see where they go in terms of this bottom lane. Like, you know, with Zeri gone, I feel like you can't necessarily lean into the poke, but perhaps Abel ends up going for, you know, could go for the Kai'Sa himself, known as a Kai'Sa player, but maybe something like the Ezreal. We'll have to wait and see as Shanji goes for that Sejuani once more.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, again, we're going to see OMG going towards the late game here. I mean, you're looking at, obviously, the Corki and a team fighter in the Viego and the Sejuani, but from an AD carries perspective, like, looking towards that uber late game, like an Aphelios or something, could actually work out relatively well. Xiaohu going to take the potential Silas here, though, but looks like he's going to go back towards these here. I feel like, I'm sorry for everyone involved, I think we're just going to have a pretty boring early game, because we're all in on late game here.
Yeah, we've got Corki Azir in the mid lane. We've got Senna, Tahm, Kench bot lane for RNG. I'm hoping OMG will bring some aggression to the table here. Show us, like, what they're bringing, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. I think we might get, like, Ezreal or something in the bottom lane and, you know, play it safe. We'll have to wait and see, though. Yuumi, take it off the board. One of these champions that just scales so exceptionally well and would work with something like an Ezreal, for example. So, you know, when you don't have pressure in the bottom lane, you remove the Yuumi from the table.
Yeah, I mean, even just things that can do really well with that late game is going to be great. Renata could be, honestly, another one here. Although you do have a lot of range in RNG, so Renata doesn't work overly well in that regard. But I definitely agree taking things like these enchanters that can hyperscale off the board. Honestly, this could be a Twitch game for Abel. This could honestly be a really good spot here for a Twitch to come out.
Well, the Ezreal's gone, so certainly could be. I'm down to see that. You have the scaling, you have the lack of pressure during the laning phase. Trundle take it off the board is one of the few good matchups against this Viego that's still remaining. We'll see. Wei could go with something like a Nocturne again if he feels like he needs to be that engage tool. I'm curious though, because I feel like he's running out of good options. That Rek'Sai was banned in game number 1. Maybe that could be a choice.
Yeah, it was more of an answer to the Lee Sin. Rek'Sai is just so good into that matchup, but I'm not sure about this for Breathe. I was actually thinking Breathe takes a Mega Tank here and we just play like full-on scaling, but Breathe trying to opt into the good Gnar matchup. I think Cog Lulu or Twitch Lulu or something along these lines is going to be super good here. I'm actually not a big fan of the Samira here. I think you had such a good scaling opportunity here. It could have worked out really well, but yeah, gonna go for the Samira and the Rell. So at least the moment, Aki definitely gonna be needing to put his attention towards this bot side and help this Samira scale.
It's a bit of a season 10 situation down in the bottom lane for OMG. I like it though, a bit of proactivity and aggression, and you certainly have things to set this Samira up, right? Vi gonna be locked in for Wei. You know, we talked about that as a target against things like the Ezreal, but, you know, Samira could certainly move a lot. Corki on the package certainly could get chased down by this Vi.
Yeah, and I think that's the big one is the Samira here. You just want something that's going to be able to hold her in place long enough that you can blast her down. And especially when you're looking at Samira, who's so heavily reliant on her ult, if you can have that assault and battery come through right as Abel goes in with the ultimate, you can definitely try and shut down a lot of this play from OMG. But honestly, I'm kind of surprised to see the Samira. I really think that going for like a Twitch or the Kog'Maw Lulu could have worked out really well here for OMG. You just were under no real threat from any sort of backline dive. I mean, your front to back becomes absolutely incredible then. Even having the range that can come through from the Corki as well to start poking and softening people up could have worked out great. But yeah, just not going to get it. Instead, going towards a much more aggressive bot side. So I think this now means that OMG have to play a very aggressive lane phase, whereas in this games that we've seen prior to this, they haven't really had to go all in on that.
No, they've not had to. They did in game number 1, though. We did see quite a lot of aggression in the 2v2. We'll see, though. We'll have to see how this one's going to pan out. RNG deciding to lean into full scaling. I am a little surprised, I have to admit. Like, when we think about RNG across spring, it wasn't just like do nothing and wait for the late game. It was be proactive. It was win trades in the mid game. It was like take an advantage and run away with it. Not what we're seeing out of the draft here from RNG. So it feels like trying to change their style for the summer split. We'll see if it's going to work for them in game number 2 against OMG, who do have the advantage. 1-0 in their favor so far. And Able and Cold with the Samira Rell bottom lane. I'm excited to see the 2v2. We'll see if Ming, being a turbo smurf on Kench like he always is going to be enough.
I feel like RNG aren't going to be playing down towards Ming, though. It definitely feels like the early game is going to be focused towards Breathe, and especially if you can get some nice damage onto Shanji here. I think trying to enable Breathe to get some nice gold for himself through turret plates on this top side, maybe that lends itself then in towards Rift Herald plays and that sort of stuff, is going to be your best option here for RNG, because bot lane just doesn't have any great setup. Even if you manage to connect onto Able with, say, one of Ming's Abyssal Dives, you just end up with the ability to hop out of there anyway as Able in a lot of situations. So I think you're going to be pretty fine here as RNG to kind of abandon the bot side of the map. Whereas unless you're thinking, I want to match Aki as he plays for Able.
That'll be the big question, is if they can match Aki, if Wei can follow Aki around the map. I will say, despite the sheer scaling, right, Vi is a very aggressive jungler. It's not the kind of jungler that you want to just be doing nothing on during that early game, because let's be honest, Vi, not exactly a great scaling champion, right? So we'll see. We'll see if we do get a little bit more aggression in that top side. Breathe. Getting a little bit of free damage onto Shanji to start the lane off. Shanji is not happy about it. Just charging at Breathe, but won't quite be able to close the gap.
And that's basically the way that this matchup is going to go. Breach is playing on the edge of range there, especially since he knows that Shanji started with his E. Not going to be able to try and get the Glacial Assault there to close the gap. And RNG already pushing the bot side. But again, look, I'm not going to lie to you, Munch. I think we're in for a long one. I have my cup of tea. I'm well set to just nestle myself on into this and let the game unfold as it may as we get to like the 15-minute mark.
Yeah, instead of Peppers with the boys, this will be Cuppers with the crew, because you know I've got a couple of lemsip going on here. I've got a bit of a cold going on, so I've got my lemsip. It's in my Weetabix mug. So I'm feeling very,
I wasn't expecting the Weetabix mug. I was like, why did you put lemsip in your Weetabix? That sounds disgusting.
Trust the process.
See, the thing is, I never know what to think anymore, because a while ago, so my dad used to own a postcard company, and he had a photographer that arrived to the house, and we put him up, and he asked for orange juice with his breakfast and his cornflakes, and we're like, oh yeah, he's going to have a glass of orange juice. So we gave him the glass of orange juice. He took the glass of orange juice and poured it over his cornflakes instead of milk.
Oh, God. Do you know, I have a similar story. We had these family friends that came over to stay. We were all having Weetabix, and they were like, oh, can we have some honey with our Weetabix? And we're like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. We've got to dive at the bottom side. Ming not feeling the honey on this one. He's feeling a bit harsher than that. Ignite comes down cold. Gonna go down to the tower. It's a disaster for OMG. Xiaohu arrives, and it's a solo kill, actually, for Gala.
I mean, Gala just had to lock up Code underneath the tower perfectly there, and I mean, big mistake from OMG. You just don't have the health bar or the tankiness to really go for that dive. Cold, I mean, the second he goes for the crash down, he ends up so slow and can't get out from underneath the tower, especially as Gala lands that lock up onto him.
Way now, moving towards the top side. Is he going to go for a dive on this one? I feel like that would be a bit too aggressive. Looks like it will just be the reset in the end. Let's take another look at the dive, as it was set up by Aki. This was OMG being proactive, but Xiaohu answering with a TP and Gala getting a kill.
Yeah, but watch here, right? So Ming stays underneath the tower. So you get the initial play coming through, but Abel ends up tanking the CC and then passes it on to Cold, which means with the ramp-up terror damage, he takes so much. Xiaohu even TPing in to make sure there could be no follow-up plays, and doesn't even lose out that much on mid, because Creme wasn't able to push in heavily either.
So Abel, just a traitor. That's what happened right there. Shanji Gets a good trade on to breathe. Anyway, what I was saying was, so we had these family friends that came over. We're having our Weetabix. They have honey on it. We're like, okay, honey on Weetabix. That sounds kind of delicious. But then what they did, they got the milk on the Weetabix, they put the honey on top, then chucked it in the microwave for 30 seconds. They had warm Weetabix with honey, and they just mixed it together and essentially turned it into porridge, which was like, you know, it was kind of delicious. I'm not going to lie to you. But it was so weird.
I was going to say, that hasn't really turned me off. I'm kind of like, that still sounds great. Because I'm not going to lie, I have had a lot of warm Weetabix in my life because it's great. If, because if I'm trying to shove, because I used to be big into like Gaelic football, which is like the Irish national sport. And it is much easier to shove warm Weetabix into your mouth with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of milk on them when you're like rushing out for training than it is to like break them up bit by bit.
Fair enough. Just guzzle it. It's like blending your kale, so you still have it in your diet, but you don't have to eat it. I saw a Twitter post about that. They were saying like, you know, people knock health smoothies, but if you're gonna, I need to eat healthy food, and if I'm gonna consume this crap, well, I might as well just chug it and get it over with. Which,
yeah, I was gonna say,
I can get behind that.
There was a ton of people like, oh yeah, if you're gonna have a kale smoothie, like, it'll be fine once it's in a smoothie. You won't taste it. I was like, I've had kale smoothies. They just taste like kale. It does not matter. You can still taste that.
It's the worst tasting thing on the planet, aside from lychee, which I would say lychee wine, quite nice, but lychee, we had tinned lychee as a kid once. Oh, I still have nightmares about that. It was the worst thing I've ever tasted. It was just the worst. Anyway, Abel trying to go aggressive with Cold on the bottom side, but another route lands onto Cold. Bit more damage out from Gala, but Shanji's here! Surprise! The top lane has come to the bottom side of the map and done absolutely nothing to Ming. It's a bit of a disaster for OMG, honestly. There's an ult coming on through. He's just hit level 6, and suddenly Abel's popping off on the bottom side. Not quite level 6 himself, but it doesn't matter, as they get 2 kills for themselves on the side of OMG.
I mean, Sejuani even managing to TP back to the top side to pick up the wave, so nicely done by OMG, and we've seen this from Shanji before. River Shen? Nah. Yep. River Sejuani, that's where it's at.
Turning the river to ice and then icing the bottom lane as well. Nicely done here by Shanji.
Yeah.
Ice in his veins, indeed. It's a full-on sheesh from Shanji.
And I mean, you kind of said it here. I mean, I was surprised to see how aggressive RNG were going here, considering if Cold was going to play up that far, chances are there's help in the wings. And then Ming does end up tanking up a lot of it, but they just take that step too far forward before Vi can actually get into the fight. And Shanji, really nice ultimate there, manages to get the turnaround. And again, Shanji interrupting Wei when he had the potential flash into the queue to get the kills there. But Shanji, again, just playing bodyguard really well.
It's worth mentioning as well, in that pre-game interview we saw with Abel, he was saying how, you know, Samira is one of these champions that can only be picked in certain situations when you're against an immobile enemy AD carrier. Well, Gala is the epitome of immobile on that Senna, so feels like a good situation. And now that they're trying to get him set up, trying to get some kills onto him, Aki wants to try and steal this. Won't be able to get the crab for himself, but will be able to get a bit of damage down onto... Oh, no, he did get the crab. Got the smite down in it.
I will say for Abel, just going back to this conversation, I'm a little bit worried about him as the game goes on. Because it feels like with the point-and-click CC for Wei, Xiaohu having the Emperor's Divide, and even Ming being able to devour Gala when Abel goes in aggressive, it feels like his target selection is going to be really tough for him to actually get these big ultimates off. It's going to be so key that he's waiting for just the right moment to make that happen. Maybe this Rift Herald could be the play, though.
Yeah, Herald down to just about 1,000 gold. Wei smites it in the end. We'll grab the Herald. And OMG so far not really committing to any kind of contest,
Abel's
but they look like they want a little bit more.
Abel's still level 5. It's Cold who's level 6. And you've got the double level 6s hit for the bot lane of RNG. So you really want to make sure that Abel actually has that ultimate available before you're able to commit. And it won't be available. So RNG will just get the Rift Herald. They're going to drift back down towards this bot side. And honestly, may just look to shove in this bot wave. And maybe look for the dragon as well. Although I will say that Aki going to be faster to this bottom side than Wei is.
He will be Cold, trying to threaten Ming here as Abel. Finally hitting that level 6 mark, and that's scary for Gala, right? When you're on this Senna against the Samira, that level 6 mark for Abel can be massive. Dragon on the map still. Nobody taking that one just yet. As you can see Aki, I think, toying with the idea as he moves towards that bottom side, could finally get one of those neutrals on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's going to start up just with mid pressure and also the priority on bot lane, but yeah, RNG not going to be able to here to counteract it. Way going up towards those Krugs on the top side meant that he took a very long route down to the bottom lane, so nice job by OMG to start to collect that one for themselves, and RNG will be able to just push out bot and reset, but I'm curious to see where Wei is going to put this Rift Herald. I feel like trying to get it mid lane is going to be your best bet, and it looks like Wei going to agree with me here as he's looking to move into position and see if he can catch Creme out.
Yeah, I'll have a look in the mid lane, but I don't think he's going to find it here. Creme, with that Valkyrie, always going to be fairly safe as well on the Corki, and that's one of the things about Vi. Kind of similar to like a Xin Zhao, right? Where once you go in, there is no coming out again. And if you're against a Corki, you go for the ultimate, Corki Valkyries, and then flashes underneath his towers, you're dead. It's not like you can get back out again. You're just doomed in that situation. So, Wei playing it safe, not going for the mid lane just yet. We'll have to look for an opportunity somewhere else. Half the time gone on the Herald, though, so he's got to figure out where he wants to go soon.
I mean, this is the hard part here for RNG, where we already kind of pointed out, you don't have much control over bot side to lean in towards a mid lane play on Rift Herald. Same with Xiaohu, he just kind of wants to be by himself in that lane. So maybe we just get Wei going top side as junglers and top laners meet, but Aki gets the smite.
Yeah, gets the scuttle crab for himself. Xiaohu just chilling, trying to scale up. And I will say, this RNG squad, no flame to breathe. I love Breathe as a player, but this team got a lot more boring since Breathe joined. Bin brought a lot of chaos to that top side. Maybe, and now BLG actually getting a lot more interesting. Maybe Breathe was the reason that BLG was so passive. Here we go, a play in the mid lane onto Creme here. The Valkyrie denied by the Emperor's Divide. And Xiaohu says, worship Shurima, baby.
And just a nice play from Xiaohu there. Gets the L swoop and boop into Wei. Perfectly positioned, and Aki now here to defend mid lane to collect this wave. Code have wandered up as well, which means that Ming and Gala get some nice alone time with this bot lane turret to start to get some of that gold for themselves as well. Even getting vision control on the spot side. Oh, Aki.
Flash forward from Aki. It's a flash from Xiaohu. Oh, and Aki doesn't predict it. He goes the wrong way. Now Xiaohu trying to escape through the mid lane here, but Aki should be able to find the stun, and that'll be a kill. That'll be a solo kill from Aki into that mid lane. Herald comes down to the bottom side. Now that priority you talked about, an opportunity as Cold tries to go in. He's on to Ming to start, but he ain't tanky. That's a Dawning Shadow to finish him off. Bit of an over-aggression there coming out from the side of Cold.
They thought they could make the play with Creme TPing down, but that takes a little while for that TP to come through, and now you get at least one kill back for RNG, but Aki getting that kill onto Xiaohu going to prove pretty nice here for OMG as well. So a lot of back and forth, but 1,000 gold lead for RNG, and a lot of that sitting on this Vi, with Wei having that Divine Sunder already completed.
So, 3-3 on the scoreboard. Let's take another look. It's the mid lane play. I mean, just watch this combo from Xiaohu. It's just... Oh, wait, no. It's after that. It's just the solo kill.
It's just Aki getting the kill, so hiding in the fog. And I think it's a nice job here from Xiaohu to try and, like, make that hop over the wall and try and bait Aki into running up, but didn't realize there was a ward in the bush that spotted where his escape route was. And here, never see Cole flashing in. Good flash from Gala to escape. And from that point forward, it's just a disaster. Here, not even having Wei there as well just makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah, Gala with a really nice flash there to keep himself safe. And had Gala been caught up in it all, maybe there's a world where it can work out for the side of OMG. But yeah, tough one. Now Cole moving up to the top side with Aki. Breathe, Mini Gnar right now. Shanji ult available. Surely Breathe just goes down. Has flash available. There's the hop. Knocked up, stunned up. Chased down and away from the tower. That's going to be a guaranteed kill. They're giving it over to Creme. Look at this. The whole team, the red carpet has been rolled out for Creme as he just Gatling guns the poor little Yodel down.
But this is the thing. It took so long for them to get it. Wei's onto Abel.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, denies the blast cone. Wei playing that beautifully. Flashing over. No. Oh, but he wastes the flash. Abel survives.
And you also don't get the play that you wanted in the mid lane as well, which was to try and get that mid lane turret. RNG do get the bot lane, though, and will get position on towards this dragon as well. But honestly, with Abel being able to survive, no ultimate now on the Vi, things get a little bit easier, I gotta say, for OMG if they want to try and contest this next dragon.
Certainly do. They got the first dragon of the game as well. And this would be an Infernal Drake, which I don't think anyone's ever going to sniff at. RNG will be able to get themselves their tier 1 tower down. That's their second tower of the game to none from the side of OMG. And they do have a 3,000 gold lead. I feel like maybe RNG still just brute force the Drake.
Yeah, I mean, you got the package picked up by Creme, so they got to do this pretty quickly. Gaki is going to trade the pressure on the bot side for that Rift Herald, so it will actually be a trade on opposite sides of the map, but now you got to see what the plan is with this. I'm pretty sure Creme picked up the package there. Yeah, he's sitting on it now.
Xiaohu with a bit of damage down onto Cold there. And we're starting to see some of the reasons why...
Hold on.
Oh, Creme, you're in a bad spot there. Has to use the package just to keep himself safe. Wade trying to chase him down. But we'll just take a big old hammer in for his trouble. Breathe about to turn Mega Gnar. Creme forced to flash. Cold now. Hex flashing over the wall. We'll just stay with his team. Abel needs to stack those passive stacks up, but he won't get a chance as he just gets bopped around and blasted. Shanji falls too, and RNG shows what a mid-game is all about.
Yeah, oh, way overextension coming through from Cold. Goes for the play. He's on like a 3rd HP, and RNG are like, oh, you really don't have flash. Hey, well, I guess we'll just go for this. Breathe even having the Mega Gnar and having his flash. Didn't even have to use it because Ming gets the knock up. Like, I don't know what OMG were thinking of that one. And that's just going to give a 5k gold lead to RNG.
Yeah, things are looking pretty good for RNG. They got the Drake. They managed to find a fight off the back of the Herald as well. Everything looking hunky-dory. Creme starting off getting caught here. And then the rest just a follow-up from that situation.
Yeah, I mean, look at where Aki's positioned as well. They thought they were going to try and make a play, but because Creme gets caught first, then Aki tries to come in as they see Xiaohu mid, but Cold's like, oh, well, now I have no flash. Xiaohu's completely cut me off. Great Emperor's Divide, and there's just nowhere to go here. Aki never even gets into the fight because he's just been trying to play on the edge, waiting for this moment that OMG never brought to the table.
Yeah, it's at least... Finally, a tower going down for OMG. That's a positive for them, a silver lining, a consolation prize, as they will get the objective bounty as well. So at least closing the goal gap ever so slightly to 4,000. But I mean, we're 17 minutes in and it's still 4,000. So still not exactly a positive situation for OMG. We need to see a big team fight for them, right? We need to see big Corki rockets with Samira spinning around amongst everybody. Feels like a difficult situation to pull off, though.
I just don't see a moment where you can't. Like, we kind of got an inkling there of what will happen. You go in, Wei is ult, Xiaohu has Emperor's Divide, Breathe even might have Wallop or a Mega Gnar to interrupt the Samira ult. It feels like there's so many things that have to already be in play before Abel can have that moment. But if he can, I mean, that is definitely game-changing, especially when you're sitting on like the item and a half that Abel is getting to with Collector on his way. Like, that could be where he pops off and has that moment. But this is where it's kind of like, why are we going for the Samira here? Why not just opt in towards like matching the late game from RNG, like with the Twitch, with the Kog'Maw Lulu, and just kind of playing for these mid to late game fights where honestly your composition just outscales RNG.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It could be one of those things where RNG now with the lead can just, like you say, play it slow, see what happens. But only time will tell, Dagda. Only time will tell. 6-4 on the scoreboard. Drake coming up in a minute and a half, though. Feels like both teams going to start to look towards getting vision control on the bottom half of the map. Shanji playing very respectfully, just basically waiting under his tier 2 tower. Has a red buff somehow. I'm guessing that's his team's red buff that didn't want the enemy jungler to steal it away.
OMG setting up in mid lane here. Should have the push with this Rift Herald. RNG not going to be in response to try and contest this. So we'll at least get the first tower. I don't know if they'll be able to move over towards the second, as Xiaohu should be in a position. And you can see RNG just going to be able to clear this one out before OMG fully commit. But with Dragon in 45 seconds, I feel like this is where you want to try and get these initial resets coming through from OMG, because no wards on Cold, no wards on Abel or Creme. Whereas when you look across the inventory of RNG, there is a lot of vision that they're willing to invest into this bot.
Wards galore for RNG, but honestly for OMG, they might just give this one up. They might just sank this one, give it over. Like, your Corki not really in a position where he's doing crazy damage just yet. You're pretty far behind in terms of gold right now. It's only the second Drake.
It is the Samira, though. Like, the Samira needs to be making plays at this point in the game, and this is why I'm not a big fan of it coming through. It's like, it feels like it doesn't fit into the rest of your composition. If you're not able to play around the Samira spikes, then why are you playing the Samira?
Well, it's a tough one for them, but with just the serrated Dirk on top of the shield bow, perhaps feeling like they don't have the damage. Aki, gonna be a little late on that one. Ults back out of the pit. You know, valiant attempt. I like the attempt there. Doing a bit of a wayward with the frog coming out at the end as well.
I love how that has just become synonymous with wayward. Like, whenever I see that anywhere, it's just like, that is wayward's emote. And why are you using wayward's emote?
Yeah, wayward doesn't just use it; he abuses it. You know, he's very much made that his own. And now, I mean, to be honest, it was quite popular emote before he even started using it. He's just stolen it from everyone else.
That's the thing, when you use it like 3 times more than everyone else combined, I feel like you have a right to it, you know?
Yeah, definitely earning that emote for himself, but you know, Aki not quite able to get the steal for himself. A very slow one, Dagda. You predicted this was going to be a slow one. Yeah. You are absolutely right. You're a prophet, man. You're an absolute prophet. I just wish you weren't, because I was really hoping you'd be wrong.
Yeah, so was I. At least we did get a good discussion in about breakfast cereals, you know?
We did.
Like, I was going to say it's a good way to start your day, but honestly, it's like 2 o'clock here. so it's not exactly that early.
I have a bonus breakfast cereal anecdote for you. I was at the pub quiz the other day, and one of the questions was, which popular cereal in the UK has the mascot named Klondike Pete? Turns out, it's Golden Nuggets. It's the like prospector character off the front.
Oh,
and I got it right.
About him.
I only guessed it because of Pete the Prospector out of Toy Story. I just assumed that they were both called Pete, and it was essentially just plagiarism. Turns out I was right. But yeah, Golden Nuggets, they're honey crunching good guys, and they work great. I don't know if they even still exist, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been a big breakfast cereal guy for a long while. So I haven't been shopping for them recently. Like, the only ones that stick out of my mind are like cornflakes and Frosties and like Rice Krispies and stuff, like your bog standard ones. Maybe some Cocoa Pops on a good day.
Cookie Crisp were amazing.
I see, the thing was, I like had Cookie Crisp maybe like twice, where you'd like randomly get those. I don't know why I don't know how, but everyone has ended up with like the big variety packs of cereals. But I don't ever remember deliberately buying variety packs of cereal at any point in time. They just ended up in the house.
It was like when you went on holiday or something, when you were in a caravan or something like that, you'd end up with them. And do you know what? There was like one good cereal in those multi-packs, and the rest was cornflakes. Every single time. Like, you look in the cupboard, there's a million boxes of cornflakes, nothing else. RNG, they've had their cornflakes this morning because they are making moves here. They've got energy. Aki being pushed away. No! Ult's over the pit. Can he get it? No! Denied. Wei grabs it for himself instead. And now RNG, with Baron in pocket, can continue to just charge forwards in this one. Xiaohu looking for damage onto Creme. That's going to be a cease and desist given over by Wei. Ming gobbles his jungler up to keep him safe. And RNG can just keep this ball rolling.
Yeah, a bit of a cease to exist there, honestly, going on towards Creme. Man, completely taken out of the equation. And again, I think it's just nice play coming through from RNG. They have control of the map. They set it up beautifully. Get the vision control down. Abel only coming out of the base as well meant that they didn't even have a full man stack here to actually contest this. Because you can see Abel only just rocking out of the fountain now. And RNG just instantly rushed this one down. So nice timing on the resets.
Yeah, and Aki, you know, valiant attempt. The whole of RNG, though, just stopped DPSing and try and pest him down. So nicely done by RNG to read the play from OMG, deny it. And, like, look at the minimap. Samira nowhere near any of this at any point during the play. Like, OMG, this was desperation.
Yeah. I don't know what you're able to do at this stage. The fact that you lose both jungler and mid is kind of heartbreaking in that scenario. Usually it's a case of sacrifice one and hope then that the team can hold out with a Baron if you steal it. But as you say, there's not much left in the tank here for OMG. 45 seconds until the next dragon. RNG get to easily fall back to that, especially with the Baron lasting for another minute and a half. Creme, I mean, we're real going desperation mode here.
It's desperation. Gala the target here. Creme, can he get a good package across the whole of RNG? There goes Code. Here's the package across the whole squad as well. The rest of them jumping on in. Can Abel get his ult off? But the Emperor's Divide just shuts everyone down. Abel spins, but he can't Beyblade it enough. It's RNG just wiping the floor with OMG.
Yeah, spin to Finn as RNG will end up taking over the game, ending it right now. And simple as you like, RNG. I mean, this was what we expected, honestly, in game number 1. OMG just unable to put up a fight.
Yep, RNG back on the horse, getting themselves another game on the board. And that means we're 1-1 in this series. That means we're going to 6 games today. And RNG keep up their expectations. You know, we came into the split actually tempering expectations for RNG. You know, coming fresh off of MSI, like expecting them to be tired. They started off with a 2-win streak. They lost to V5 in an absolute banger series. Then losing game 1 to OMG, I was starting to get worried for the team. But no, they show us in game number 2, they're still the team that you know and fear. Yeah,
and I think that's the big one here is that we got to see what RNG are capable of, where they did end up opting in for a lot of that late game scaling with like the Azir, the Senna and Tahm Kench, but still able to keep control of the map, not letting OMG get too far ahead. And honestly, I think more so OMG making some big errors as well. Like that dive on the bot side where Abel ends up blocking Code up underneath the tower. Not exactly ideal. Opting into the Samira, I wasn't a big fan of because it just didn't feel like past the laning phase she was going to be able to do much. And already even trying to dedicate resource to Samira in the laning phase wasn't going so hot regardless. So yeah, it felt like Abel was trying to force this Samira where it didn't belong. I think if he had actually opted in towards like the late game scaling we talked about with Twitches and Cogmas and these kind of things, maybe you can fight back here as OMG, but an early game going astray into a composition that RNG had was just never going to work.
Yeah, I mean, Samira versus Tahm Kench was never going to be fun, right? Like, you're trying to find these fast, aggressive kills. Tahm Kench, literally his entire purpose is to deny that. And as soon as that dive went awry early on in the game from OMG, that was the point where it started to really fall against them. Xiaohu topping the damage charts with just 14k damage. That says a lot about how inactive this game was.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many times that I've seen, like, we're not even pushing into, like, 10k damage on the majority of players in the game. It says a lot about how slow this was, but we said already, like, RNG definitely taking a very much slower pace to these games now, especially with Breathe in that top side. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see a very similar story coming into game number 3 as well, where if you don't give OMG the ability to outscale you, or OMG don't take the ability to outscale you as well, they should be fine and just play the mid-game better like we saw in this game.
Yep, really nice stuff from RNG. Play it slow, play it safe, and win it out in the end. Xiaohu with an 11 KDA during that game as well. Pretty much maxed out kill participation, tons of damage as well. Very nice game from him on the Azir. And the Emperor's Divides, pretty fantastic throughout the game. I feel like he's probably going to get the MVP.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Just with his ability